Welcome to the other side of rock bottom, where we talk real recovery, real struggles, and real growth. I'm Kathy, your host. Today, I'm honored to have Tara join us. I met her in a women's group that we're a part of called Helping Evolve Recovery, and she has an incredible story of resilience, healing, and hope. Let's dive in. let's dive in. So, welcome, Tara. How are you today?
Good, all right. I'm blessed.
Amen. So tell us a little about yourself. Where are you from? What did life look like before recovery?
So, my name is Tara. I am 40 years old. I'm from a little town called Bardstown, Kentucky. It is the bourbon capital of the world. Little small town with nothing but distilleries and trouble. And I found myself in there. I got three kids um, who, blameless little children that suffered greatly from my addiction, but now they get to see their mama sober. So, I'm working on my bachelor's degree in social work. I've been working in recovery for about the last 2 years, taking a step back for just a minute while I finish my degree. But I want to be a therapist. I want to help other people.
Congratulations. A lot of hard work going into it, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, so let me ask you this. Can you tell me a little bit about your rock bottom moment, right? The moment where you knew something really needed to change. When would you say that was for you?
Um, in 2017, I caught some pretty hefty charges. And then and I swore I was done. You know what I'm saying? I spent some time in jail. I got out on bond. I signed my final sentencing papers. And less than a month later, I was back in jail on a new set of charges, new set of felonies. So at the end of all of that, I sat in jail for the rest of that summer. And I had begged the judge for long-term treatment because I was like, I'm a drug addict. I need help. Like I know I need help. And really there's deep down in my core, I wanted to be done at that moment, right? But I just didn't want to be in jail. And so they sent me to a long-term treatment center. I was there 9 days and they put safe off the streets is what they call when you first come in there. And they put us on a gag order because there was a bunch of us gossiping. And they put us on a gag order. And so I ran from treatment. And I was like, man, in my mind, it was like I had no desire to drink or to use when I left that facility. But within 6 hours, I had a needle hanging out of my arm because I had realized the impact of that one decision of running out of treatment because something didn't go my way. And in my mind, it was like, I'm so sick and tired of hurting my children. Every single time I tell them I'm going to get my crap together, I fall flat on my face and I let them down and I break their heart all over again. So I'll just hurt them one last time. And I ran for 2 months and overdosed several times. When the cops tackled me on Halloween of 2018, I had a cracked sternum and had just been Narcan. Like the hospital had pronounced me dead on arrival. Like it was a whole thing. And I hit my knees in a jail cell and I knew I was done. I thought I was done.
Okay. So what was your biggest realization you had about yourself or your addiction in that moment?
Um, that it's cunning, baffling, and powerful, my addiction is. And just when I think that I've got it all together, that's when it smacks me in the face if I don't keep doing what I'm doing. The biggest realization about myself, so in that jail cell, I surrendered, right? I said I thought I was done. It wasn't until 2020, 10/10/2020 is my actual sobriety date. So there's a difference between 11/1/18 and 10/10/2020. I had 17 and a half months and I relapsed again. And what I realized was that self-forgiveness piece, because as long as I continue to beat myself up for all the shoulda, coulda, would have been, should have done this, whatever, I couldn't stay sober. And it wasn't until
Right.
I surrendered that and forgave myself that I could stay sober.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Self-forgiveness is a big part of recovery. And, I wish somebody would have told me that in the beginning, right?
Right.
Damn it. But hey, it is what it is. So let me ask you this. What was the hardest part of early sobriety for you?
It's still the hardest part of sobriety, is managing emotions. It's
Okay.
still the hardest thing for me.
All right. So how did you push through the days when you wanted to give up?
Remember, no matter what, no matter who loves me, leaves me, or dies, no matter what the situation is, like I've made it through 100% of my worst days. All I got to do is keep putting one foot in front of the other. And as long as I don't pick up and drink or use, then everything's going to be okay. If I put one in me, all bets are off. Like I'm done.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So let me ask you this. I know you and I personally met in helping evolve recovery,
Mhm.
right? But what other things played a role in your recovery, even in leading up to and including the group that we are currently in?
The healing place, the women's healing place, I ended up going to another long-term treatment when they locked me up and tackled me. I went to another I begged the judge. He sent me to the women's healing place. And I am alumni from there. I was there for 8.5 months and I really sat still. And even, gosh, even there is some petty stuff that goes on in places. Like people stealing my meeting sheet, hiding body sprays in the ceiling tile above my bed, trying to get me kicked out. Like there were so many, 192,000 words that I had to write for a refocus contract. But I learned so much about myself and about my willingness at that point. And um, let's see where else. Isaiah House. Isaiah House was another one. And the biggest one, the biggest impact that I think changed me is I was at Isaiah House, and Jesus is a part of my story. I'm a faithful believer in Jesus Christ, and I'd seen the Passion of the Christ a number of times, right? I guess I hadn't really fully watched it. Well, they watched it there one day, and like I felt my joy come back because that's when like that's the self-forgiveness piece that came because I'm like, if I believe in him, and I believe that my sins, all this crap that I'm beating myself up over, is what put him on that cross and did all those things to him. And then I put myself in a parent role, God the Father, and I forgive. I forgive the people that sins that did that, right? And I'm like, okay, so like if somebody did that to one of my kids, there's no way that I have any kind of forgiveness for you. I'm coming for you, your mama, your daddy, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your uncle, nanny, whoever. And but God forgives me for doing that to his son because he loves me so much. And even if I was the only one, if I was the only one that needed it, he still would have done it. Who am I to say I can't forgive myself? He forgives me, but I can't. And that just, I don't know. I can't go back from that.
It almost puts us like we're in a higher role than him,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
okay for you, but not for me. Work that way. All right. So let me ask you this. Did you ever experience a relapse? And if so, how'd you get back on track?
Yeah, so I've been in and out of the room since I was 17. So for 25 years I was in the grips of addiction. Um, but I don't really I don't remember any of my other sobriety dates. I remember 11/1/18 and 10/10/2020. So on April 7th of 2020, I decided I'd fought it off for 2 weeks, right? That thought, I want to get high, I want to use, I want to drink, you know what I'm saying? And then that thought came that was like, it's not going to go anywhere until you're just going to have to get it out of your system. And that was when I decided to put another one in me. Just one more. I can just do meth because that wasn't my thing. Sorry. It's just crazy to hear myself say, "Oh, it's just meth." You know what I'm saying? Because that's not how it went down. Um, by June, I was beating on my shower door like, how did I get, like the man in the book that talks about he's beating on the bar, like, how did I get back here again into this predicament? I was on my shower wall, and you might think I'm crazy, but I heard God's voice. And what he said was, I didn't turn my back on you. You turned yours on me. You know what to do. All you got to do is turn around. And I wish I could say I got sober then, but I didn't. It was like 3 weeks later, I'd switched from that to my drug of choice, heroin or fentanyl. And by 4th of July, I called my PO on myself because I was on probation. I was facing 20 years in prison at this point. And so, long story short, I go to Isaiah House. Now, the first time I got sober, 11/1/18, I had no withdrawal. Like, I surrendered in a jail cell, and everything was taken up off of me. I didn't shake. I didn't have the sweats. I didn't, none of that. Like, it was a miracle. But this time around, it's like God's got jokes. He's got a sense of humor. So he was like, oh, you didn't appreciate that last time, huh? So here's all the detox symptoms, all of them on 10, and COVID. Here's some COVID for you. I had every single symptom of both of those things. And I thought I was dying. I wanted to die. So I left treatment, went home, detox in my apartment. I had about 30 days sober and decided that I was going to go for a drive. Um, and wound up down where in parts where I shouldn't have been, looking for a coloring book that I'd left in a house I shouldn't have been in, which ended up leading to a relapse. The last 3 weeks of September of 2020, I was overdosing 4 and 5 times a day. It's like, by all rights, I could have been dead. I used to say I should have been dead, but I don't say that anymore. I could have been dead, but God stepped in and saved me. I went back to Isaiah House, and that's it. That's something changed in there, and I firmly believe that that's that self-forgiveness piece. Like, I'm not saying that I haven't had moments that I've wanted to use. They come and go. I just haven't found it necessary.
Okay, so what advice would you give to somebody who might be struggling right now and on the verge or has just relapsed?
Um, don't give up. Don't quit fighting. You're worth it. Um, People come in, my clients where I used to work come in all the time, and they're like, when they come back and come back, and they're just so defeated, and they're so like ashamed about it. And I'm like, the only shame is when you refuse to get back up. There's no shame in falling down. It's when you stay down. Like, just get back up, dust yourself off. And if you've had significant time, like, that's one thing I try to beat myself up for a long time, was like, I just threw away 17 months. I didn't lose anything that I had gained then. All of that's still here. You know what I mean? Like, just what did you learn from it? Instead of asking, or instead of thinking, oh, I'm just a screw up, I mess everything up. Like, you have to look at, okay, so what was I supposed to learn from this? That's the best thing. You gotta turn it around. What am I supposed? Everything's a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Everything's a
Well, it
learning.
sounds like perspective
Hmm.
might be a
Yeah.
good. Okay. All right, good
Yeah.
deal. So now let's talk about the other side of rock bottom, right?
Mm.
What's something in your that you have in your life now that you never thought you would have?
There's so many things.
That
I've
was
had,
possible only because of recovery.
yeah. So my children are in my life. Um, Most of them. My daughter is still kind of but she speaks to me when we see each other, so that's a positive. This car that's sitting out front, I bought it brand new 3.5 years ago, and I still have it, and I haven't been late on any payments. And this apartment, there's no way it would be possible because it's expensive. Um, the jobs that I've been able to hold, man, let me tell you, I was not, I'm 40 years old, and the longest job prior to the job that I have now or just had was 6 months. I'd held two jobs for 6 months in my 30 something years. But I worked at Avenues for a year and a half. When I decided to leave that job, I actually put in a notice like a responsible adult and worked the 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? I did it the right way. They weren't calling the cops when I was leaving. You know what I'm saying? I'm not banned from the property. Um, and I also had another job already scheduled and set up before. You know what I'm saying? So those things, I have a bank account that's got money in it. It's not overdrawn. I'm in college. I have a 4.0. None of those things would have been possible if I weren't sober. Um, Relationships, family, friendships, friendships with women, because I'm not friends with women. but
Right?
I,
Right?
but I show up most mornings. I show up for our morning meditations. Like before, I was always looking. I didn't want to be in an all women's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I need co-ed. I don't, or especially in early sobriety, it's important to have good, strong women in your corner.
It is. It really is because we need, especially in early sobriety, because we need that backing of genuine love, empathetic, understanding women, right? Because the last thing we need to do is go co-ed or get into relationships and all that. We need a relationship with ourselves. How did you find that?
Lot of step work, therapy. I'm still learning about myself, to be honest. And I wanted to touch on one thing real quick. It's like I touched on my kids a while ago, and I'd said, my daughter's kind of my daughter was probably hurt the most in my addiction, right? Um, Unintentionally, like repeatedly breaking her heart over and over and over again. Um, and she's on her own healing journey, right? I've come to a point where like I love her and I want her in my life, but I also have to come to accept the fact that she may not ever come around, and that's okay. It's her journey,
That's hard.
right? It
That's
it's
definitely hard
it's very
because
hard.
I do have a daughter that, I did a lot of damage myself, 14 years,
Yeah.
and she was 6 when I basically abandoned her.
Mhm.
And, she was 20 when I decided to get my collective stuff together. And, yeah, I've got 10 and a half years, but until she's ready to forgive and move on. And she's one of us, so she's got her journey, right?
Right.
And I want her in my life so badly.
I know.
But we have to know where to meet people where they're at.
Mhm.
And sometimes we have to leave them where they're at until they're ready to grow too.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely difficult. So, what does sobriety mean to you today?
It's everything. It's everything. It's kind of like God, like it's everything or it's nothing. Um, if I quit, not only would I be destroying myself, but there's so many people that like are rooting for me. You know what I'm saying? And that I have people that depend on me today. Like I have sponsee, I have a sponsee. Um, but I have a support group of women and people that also depend on me, right? And I don't know, it's fulfilling. Like I know that my purpose in life is to help people, women specifically. Like I really feel a strong calling on my life for women, and which is really weird because for so long that was shied away from women. I hated women. Um, yeah, it
Okay.
means everything.
So, how do you continue to grow and stay strong in recovery?
Step work, taking a look at myself, looking at my part in things. Therapy. I recently got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and um, which makes so much sense. But at the same time, it's just learning how to navigate through that to achieve some emotional sobriety where I'm not flying off the handle at the drop of a hat for
Right.
seemingly nothing, or even when it is big things. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a right and wrong way to do things. So
Okay.
anyway, I hope I answered your
Well,
question.
that did. So wrapping it up, if someone right now is listening that is struggling and they're at their rock bottom, what would you want them to hear?
Um, Probably, don't give up. Like I said before, there's help out there. Reach out. You're not broken. You may feel broken, but you're not broken. And this moment doesn't define you. No matter how heavy things feel, you're here. God is with you, whatever your God looks like, your higher power. And there's still hope. Like recovery is real. I've seen the proof on a daily basis. Like I hate the whole cliche, like if I could do it, you could do it. But like I was a bottom gutter junkie, home wrecking hoe. Okay. Like that's what I was. But your past doesn't define you.
Right.
And here's one thing else too, because we get in recovery, I get in recovery. I'm sorry. Coming into recovery, we've neglected so much for so long. And we tend to want to fix everything all at once, right? And we forget that we have to take one step at a time, right? One small step at a time. Like we didn't get in the hole with the mountain of stuff that needs to be done overnight. You got to just take it easy. There's another little cliche.
Right.
But even the darkest night comes to an end, you know. It's always darkest before the dawn. So you're stronger than you think, and just keep going.
Well, Tara, thank you for sharing your story with us, honey. You know, that's proof that there's life beyond addiction.
Mhm.
If you are watching and you would like to learn more about Helping Evolve Recovery, I will put the link to their Facebook in the description below. And, check out their Facebook page. If you found today's episode helpful, please subscribe and share. And remember, recovery is possible one day at a time. Tara, thank you so much, honey. I appreciate everything.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.